Welcome to Lou's Views with your host, Lou Bozada. Just a regular guy who's honest, unapologetic, and unfiltered. If you're looking for politically incorrect opinions about past, current, and future events, then you're in the right place. Now, here's Lou.
All right. What's going on, everyone? Got Terry with us today. As you can see, if you don't follow her, it's at Bats76. That's at BATTS 76. And there's a T in there. I'm sorry. But anyway, give her a follow. That's her handle on X. And right now, you can see us live on Rumble, our home channel. You can see us on X as well and on YouTube. So I just want to start out by saying one of the things I thought of today, I was hunting all day. And it gives you a lot of time to reflect and think about things. And sometimes they're really funny because you're actually talking to yourself as you're going over these things in your mind, things that you want to say on the show, things that you would say if you were talking to someone in person. And I got to thinking about all of these new picks that Trump is appointing for cabinet positions and these different agencies or whatever he's going to put together. And I was comparing it to the three-ring circus that we have now. And the reason I was thinking like that is because I'm seeing a lot on social media. When I say that, I'm talking about X, because that's the only place I go, or True Social, but mostly X. I'm seeing a lot of like-minded people who are having different opinions on a lot of these picks. People that we follow, people that we get along with. They have different ideas about who they wanted to be picked for specific positions. And I'm okay with that. That's what America's all about. I get it 100%. But the one thing that stood out in my mind out of all of these picks, all of these people that I look at, and then I would compare their counterparts in this administration to them. And we're hitting home runs, walk-off grand slams on every one of these compared to what we have right now. And that was just something that went through my head. I got to thinking about it. And sometimes I think a little too deep about some of this, but I do really believe that as much as we might disagree on some of these picks, let's give it some time, because after we go over these picks and talk a little bit about it, from a book that I read called The American Story, The Beginnings. I have a little on chapter 5. I want to read a little bit about the framers of the Constitution and who they were and what they were like. And then we can compare them to what we are seeing now. And I guess what I'm saying in a roundabout way, beating around the bush, is let's give these people a chance, no matter what we think, because I'm not happy. I wouldn't say I'm not happy, but I wouldn't have picked some of these people myself. I would have went a different direction or a different person, but I'm not going to bash them. I'm going to wait to see what the results are. So anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking about today. And as I mentioned before, we have Terry with us tonight. I did ask her if she could be on the show, and she gracefully said yes. And then I asked her if she could maybe go over a list of some of the appointees, some of the picks that Donald Trump has already done that we know for a fact, because he has confirmed it on Truth Social, which to me, that's the place to go. If it says it there, then we know it's legit and it's not, bait click or clickbait, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, she's going to kind of go through that. We're going to start off the show hitting the ground running. So Terry, go ahead and just pick up wherever you want, and we'll just discuss some of this stuff and see what we've got in front of us here. So go ahead.
Okay, I will. Hi, everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Terry. I want you to know that I'm not posting in the chat, but if you have any questions or anything, comments, Gina will catch them for you on the backside, and we appreciate her doing that because I'm going to have to focus on something else tonight, Gina. So,
I got you.
Thank you. So
You're welcome.
We're going to just, no problem. We're going to go over just a few. Well, actually, I have a list of all of the Trump proposed appointees, as they stand right now. And I'm going to start off with one that we haven't heard a whole lot about. And I'm thinking that we probably should be hearing something about it. And that is Kristi Noem as the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. And as you guys know, she's a two-time governor of South Dakota, but I'm curious as to what you guys might think about her experience level and whether or not she would be able to handle the Department of Homeland Security, which includes the Secret Service, Border Patrol, and others, actually. So why don't you guys talk to us out there and let us know what you think about that? Because nobody's really been talking about this one on X or anything, Lou. So it's kind of been shocking to me. And then we have Tulsi Gabbard as the director of the Department of National Intelligence, which I find absolutely amusing since they just put her on a terrorist watch list just a little, maybe, what was it, about a month ago? So that one.
What?
Yeah, she got put on a travel terrorist watch list for all the airlines and buses and everybody just about 6 weeks ago, I think it was. And so I'm finding that one absolutely adorable. I love it. And I'm sure she will have something to say about being on that list when she gets there. Then we have Marco Rubio for the State Department, and that one was battered around for what, almost a week before it actually came to fruition. So that's another one. That's one that people are talking about quite a bit. So if you guys want to make some comments and things in there about that one, we'd love to hear them. We have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in the Department of Government Efficiency, which is really an out-of-government department that will work with the department. So we'll work with the government. And the goals there are to reduce the amount of government waste and increase the amount of efficiency, which I don't know. Does anybody besides that find that comical when you're talking about the government and efficiency in the same, sentence? That kind of makes me laugh. I found out today we have approximately 428 different agencies in the state. Their goal, their original goal, is to cut that to. So, and they're setting up an program where people can put in recommendations and ideas and actually follow along with what they're doing. So they're going to be making live updates. Were you going to say something, Gina?
No, she's talking to people in the chat and
okay.
stuff.
I'm silent speaking. And then
silent
whatever
speaking
comments we have, I'm going to throw them up. Can you see the screen with the
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, I absolutely can. All right, and then we have Pete Hegseth, which is also causing a lot of issues as the Secretary of Defense. And I think a lot of people just know him as a Fox News co-host on the weekend shows, and that's probably not a good thing because he does have a great deal of experience. He graduated from both Princeton and Harvard and has a master's in political science. He does have 2 Bronze Stars, which are actually both for combat. So he is a combat veteran from Iraq and Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, he worked with the training program for all of the Afghanis that worked with us and did translation with us, and he was in charge of that program in Afghanistan. So there's a lot more experience out there and a lot more things to know about him. And if you want something fun to go look at, research his tattoos, because that's making a big, huge, he actually got pulled from a White House assignment for President Biden because he has Israeli cross tattooed on his chest. So his tattoos have always been very controversial. They're all Centuries 1 and 2 Christian related, or directly related to Benjamin Franklin, and a monster one across his arm that says "We the People." So it's kind of an interesting read to see the kind of things, and that kind of tells you about the person he is as well. We have John Radcliffe up next as the director of the CIA. As someone who watches all the time the hearings and things going on in Congress, John Radcliffe is a hero for the things that he has done. He is the person who busted the FBI for illegal surveillance, for going after the we'll call them the church ladies, and many, many other things. He is a staunch supporter of the law and will do everything he can in a good way. So I've been watching him for a couple of years. He's a good guy. We have William McGinley. I always say his name wrong. And a lot of people don't know who he is, but he's a very, very good attorney, and he's been selected as the White House counsel, which is with Trump. That's a big position. You better be a good lawyer if you're going to be working with Trump.
Yes.
And then we have, and then we have, of course, Mike Huckabee as the ambassador to Israel. And I don't know that you could have done any better than that. We have Mike Walls as the National Security Advisor. He also is a longtime military intelligence officer and has a lot of experience in this area. Then we have Lee Zeldin with the EPA. And that's another one that people were questioning his experience on. I don't think there's a whole lot, since a lot of the EPA is going to be removal of boat people and a lot of regulations and things like that. He's probably a good pick. That's going to be their focus. And it'll be interesting to see who he puts on his team within the EPA. And actually, other than White House personnel, that's where we're at right now.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I heard a lot of stuff today about Pete Hegseth, and I don't know. It's hard for me because the way my mind works, I focus on what they're doing, and I'm trying to, pinpoint like Mike Huckabee. That could be a really good pick. You could have put Franklin Graham in there. You could have put Robert Jeffers in there. There would have been a lot of people, but someone who has political experience as a governor, former governor, and has been in office and knows the inner workings. As you said, Terry, Mike Huckabee was the best pick as far as I was concerned for something like that, because we all know that Israel is near and dear to Trump's heart. No matter what people say about him, it doesn't matter. We know the truth, and we know what he did, for them by moving everything into the, Jerusalem and all that. So, and plus the Abraham Accords, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be that's a wonderful pick. And as you're going down the line, I'm also thinking about some of the people that we have at the White House right now, compared to, it's kind of a refresher for me that I'm going to be seeing people dressed normally in a suit, that are professionals. They're going to come in and make some really good changes for our country, I hope and pray. And they're not dressed as women and confused. So I don't know. A lot of these people, I also see like Pete, going back to him again, boots on the ground guy. I think it was 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. He was a door kicker, an ass kicker, whatever you want to call it. Who better to put in a position like this? Maybe somebody who came right out of college and, became a lieutenant or whatever it is, and then they worked their way up. They're really book smart, but they never really put any time into, actual battle. So I think a lot of these picks are really well thought out, but they're a hodgepodge of different backgrounds, different people. And I think that says a whole lot about what Trump has going through his head compared to what he was doing the first time around. I really have a really good feeling about this. I really do. So, questions, go ahead, Terry. And I think Joe, nothing in her past reveals any experience in that area talking about Christy Nome. Your thoughts, Terry?
I would agree with that, other than the cuts and management that she actually did in South Dakota. I would agree with that. But she's working hand in hand with Tom Holman, who everybody knows is ready to go out and secure our borders and do whatever he needs to do. So they're kind of Holman, he would not have been approved by the Senate likely. So what they did is put him in a different position so that he could work directly with the Department of Homeland Security and Kristi Noem and take care of all of our border and illegal alien issues that are going on right now. So she has strong support there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know that Sherry was asking. I'm going to back up. I'd leave that question up there, if you would, please. But Sherry said
Yeah,
she
I
heard.
have them all.
Yeah, she heard Trump's getting rid of the Department of Education. Now that one wasn't starred. That's why I went back to that one. And I think that there are certain aspects of the Department of Education that he wants to get rid of, if maybe not all, and then rebuild it. But let's be honest, what is really good about our Department of Education when you look at it from, I guess a 30,000-foot view and look down and see that our education across the board in most states, kids are way behind where they should be in reading, math, and arithmetic. I mean, I said math and arithmetic, but English and all that. So if we're that far behind, which there's no reason for a country like ours for us to even be anything close to that, to have states that, I mean, our kids are failing. So something has to be done with the Department of Education, because I'm just going to go on a limb here and say probably billions go into this over time, and we're not getting any bang for our buck. And these are our kids we're talking about. This isn't just we're sending money to Ukraine and it's our tax dollars, because, well, it's all our tax dollars, but we're talking about our kids and their future, and then our future and their future. It's a vicious cycle. So anyway, what do you know about that before we jump to the next question, Terry, as far as the Department of Education?
This has actually been in the works since 2016. I'm a very strong supporter of eliminating the federal Department of Education, which, by the way, is not included in the Constitution and shouldn't be there anyway. But sending it back to the states, that's not going to eliminate anything, but it does need to be in a slowed down process. People don't realize this, but it's not millions, it's billions of dollars that are spent. And the Department of Education, at the time of its founding, the United States was number one in the world. They founded the Department of Education and started running everything through the federal government, and we're now at number 24. And there you go. Thank you, freedom. And that's horrible. And as somebody who worked for 20 years in education, I can assure everybody that that is one of the best things that we could possibly do. Anything that goes more local is better for parent control and for the kids. It's people will have a whole lot more say in what happens in their schools. Every state won't be the same. Some states will be better than others. Some states will have more money than others. And that's why it's going to need to roll out in a slower process. But it needs to be done.
Yes, absolutely. So we have any other starred questions in there or anything?
They're more just people's opinions about.
Did we get that one from Joyce already that's up there? Anything yet about the pick for the Department of Health and Department of Education? I thought we had something about that already, didn't we?
The Department of Education will be someone that will help dismantle it. So it's not necessarily going to be an educator type person.
Gotcha.
It may be more, I would think if I was doing it, I would work more on the breakdown and sending it back to the states I'm not him, but that's the smartest thing to do, in my opinion. And the Department of Health or the National Institute of Health, I know who wants it. I know it hasn't been said yet, and I think there's a reason for it. But I believe that RFK Jr. will be in one of several positions that fall within that realm. He's got a lot that can be done in there. He's got many years experience with pharmaceutical companies and a lot of other things going on, and has been putting out some really good ideas on X in video form. So there's also another reason that people don't know, but these people are hired. A lot of the ones you haven't seen placed yet, their jobs are not over. I'll use the FBI, a different one, as a source for this. Christopher Wray is hired to work until 2026. So his contract for employment is not up until then. And it's like that in many of these departments. So it's taking some time to actually put those out and get those filled. There's games being played in the background.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about them. I'm scrolling through the comments here. There's an LB 177 that said Homeland Security needs to disband TSA. And welcome LB 177. That's a new one to me. See Sean's in here as well. What's the next question? Oh, you got it up there already. So, granted, DHS will be in charge of DSS, but she won't have to concern herself with it because hopefully Dan Bongino will head the SS. Now, speaking of that, I don't think that it's going to be Dan Bongino, and don't be disappointed because it was kind of weird today because I'm literally in my hunting blind, my little my little luxury box, and Terry and others, and I think Sherry even said, what are you doing? You're on X. And well, I'm looking, I'm watching, but it gets boring up here. So I might as well, engage with my peeps. So anyway, I wasn't able to listen to the whole show today. I only got the very beginning. So it sounded as if Dan said that, hey, he heard some rumors over the weekend and he was going to address those if everyone wanted to know what it was. And it was that. He has not been asked by the administration yet. And as far as I know, it was Tulsi, right? Make sure I got that right. There's a lot of stuff going through my head right now. Tulsi was the one to take over those agencies right now. Terry? Was
Yes.
it Tulsi Gabbard? Okay.
It's Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, so I think she'll do fine. I don't have any problem with that. But would Dan Bongino do a great job? Absolutely. But here's my big thing, and I'm just interjecting myself here because I truly feel this way. Outside of politics, we lost a national treasure when Rush Limbaugh died. Okay. That was a blow to our movement, our side. People don't realize how important he was on a national syndicate level daily. People, they waited for him 3 hours. They would listen to that man. And who filled that void? Well, it was Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino will never be Rush Limbaugh. And Dan Bongino will be the first to tell you that. He's a total different person. He's a total different beast, but he filled that void. He is the next best thing. He is the Rush Limbaugh now. And that's one of the things that I was trying to let everyone know is that I would much rather see him stay where he's at. I think it's more important for our future because we need a voice out there, a very strong and popular one, number one live stream in the United States, maybe even the world. I didn't say the number one podcast because that's Joe Rogan, but I said live stream. So I think that's really important. And then I joked and said, if he could do both simultaneously and he could do a show and a radio, the podcast and the radio show, and he could do a position like that, then I would be all for it. So I don't know. I'm not upset with this one, although I did want Dan Bongino up there. And then I was really excited because Jim from the Dan Bongino show. The actual producer had commented, and we went back and forth on X. So I was totally just like, wow. But the radio show, the producer of the radio show, because the producer of the podcast is Dan Bongino himself. So, but yeah, so I did have some interesting interactions today, and it's pretty plain right now that Dan is not in the running for that position. So if I was you, just giving you some advice, you might as well give up on that one for right now. And if something changes, then we can all be pleasantly surprised. So,
Luke, can I correct myself?
yeah, go ahead.
Christy Nome is the Department of Homeland Security.
I
And I
thought
said,
that's what it was, but that's fine. Thank you.
Christy Nome.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I need to be corrected too, because, you know, I was like, wait,
Well,
okay.
I said it wrong.
But
And
it's
your
all
new
true.
person is actually my daughter-in-law, Leslie
Okay,
Batts,
cool.
the LB 177. I didn't know that either. So hi, Leslie.
Yeah, well, hello. Yeah, because LB is that's what I call myself a lot. LB for Lou Bozada. There you go. See? So kind of hit me a little weird when I saw that. I'm like, LB, that's my initials. But anyway, and how do they pronounce this this Department of Government Efficiency? I'm hearing them saying it's Doge, but I like to say doggy. It's much easier for me to remember. Doggy instead of Doge. But that's going to be really interesting. And just to touch on that real briefly, there's a lot of people, and I was bad today because what's the guy? I can't think of his name now. I just went just on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, the guy that was with Fang Fang. What's his name up there in
Eric Swalwell.
Thank you. Okay, Eric Swalwell. So he posted something today about, so yeah, this is real efficient. We've got 2 people that are going to be heading the department. That's really, that's really efficient. And I said, so was it as efficient as it was for you when you were doing Fang Fang and still married to your wife? And I just let it go at that. And I thought I shouldn't have done that, but I did. I couldn't help it. I was like, yeah, I had to throw that out there
I think
because
Warren posted something like that today too.
yeah, there's a bunch of them. Their heads are imploding because they can't accept the fact that we're taking in people from, different areas and different places in life. And I think this is the way to go. I think this is more a government for the people. And I think we're going to see some major changes. And at least I hope and pray we do so. But anyway, I just thought I'd interject that myself. Had a little bit of fun on X today, which it can happen from time to time. And you get follows from people you never thought you would late at night, and you get surprised every once in a while. So kind of a good thing. All right. So what else do we have up here before I get into some of the stuff that I have? Do we have any other starred ones? Here's Monkey. Trump says he has, an executive order, I'm guessing, that'll get rid of Congress person that won't play ball. So if that's true, the only way to get rid of the corrupt is to give them the rope that they may hang themselves with. I actually have a clip in here of because everybody's worried about Thune, and I don't know. Glenn Beck had this short clip, and he's talking to someone, and we can play that here in a little bit. But there is a way around Thune from what they're saying if he decides to stall or hold some things up, but we'll get into that. Chris says, I'm also a bit concerned about pulling these folks from Congress to be in the cabinet, hoping we replace them with other strong Republicans and we don't risk losing seats in either house. Well, Terry can speak for this next comment for me then. Not only, Chris, is that a concern because we're all concerned, but Matt Gaetz has already resigned from his position down in Florida. Rubio. Yes. So all these people, they have to be replaced. So, I mean,
But it is Florida, folks.
Yes, it is Florida.
So, yeah. He might be draining the state, but at the same time, we will get it taken care of, either through appointment or a quick vote. Matt Gaetz's district is largely military, very red, and Marco Rubio, I believe, is Governor DeSantis's pick for someone to replace him.
Yeah.
So it should be taken care of pretty quickly as far as Florida goes. And you know, I'm sure that it'll be okay. I was a little bit iffy myself at first. And also um, I'm doing a little bit more research, but I may have some updates posted tomorrow on the position of the president of the Senate, which is, of course, J.D. Vance. I'm not sure how far his authority goes as far as running the Senate goes, but it's a little bit more interesting than I thought it was. So there'll be more to come on that. And while I'm talking about that, I had a lot of requests today. If you guys could put a yes or no in the comments, I can watch them flip by. Put a yes or no in the comments and let me know. Very many people asked me today if I would start a congressional watchdog group, because reporting on Congress is basically what I do. And if you think you'd be interested in just seeing what we post, I'm not asking anybody to work or asking for any help, but would you like to see more follow up and follow through on what Congress is doing day to day? Yes or no will do. A Y or an N will do. I can read it like that.
Can I cheat?
Sure.
Yes. Because
I put
I
a
like
Y in the comments.
I like quoting and posting her stuff because I learn and then I get to share it as well. So I'm kind of like whenever because I got her set up on notification. As soon as she puts something out, I get to go get it. So I like that. So yes, please. Yes, please. I'm all for it. See what everybody else has. Karen says, I'm loving Terry to pieces. This is great. So helpful tonight for me. Very much needed. Yeah. Karen's up. She's up there in Boston, not in Gina's area. So
Yep.
awesome. We love Karen. Yep.
The blue state. Probably the bluest state ever.
All right. So what else do we have before?
Lots of yeses.
Cool. Yeah, and I think, oh yeah, I was looking at Chris. Chris said, we said this the other night, but I think Bongino serves a greater purpose where he is. Yeah, we did have this conversation, and I do feel that way. Although I know he's very passionate. Again, I said my piece. I just think that he, as Chris just said, he serves a better purpose for everyone because there's a lot of people listening to him, and we need that. And he would be silenced if he takes on something else because he's going to be way too busy to do all of this. And I know that. So Pocahontas country. Yeah. Way to go, Karen. That's the way to put it. Yes, that's true. Yes. And bills being introduced. There you go.
Actually, I follow the bills from committee all the way through to the Senate. So you get all the hearings and you get every Senate bill, whether it's one you think you might be interested or not, whether it's refrigeration or illegal immigration or boys going in girls' bathrooms. It doesn't matter. You get every single one.
Oh, Terry, I have a question. I had a couple of
Yes.
people ask me, and I don't know if you would know or not, because I think it was only in Massachusetts. They passed that the MCAS will no longer be like a graduation requirement here.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that yet?
No, that is a state.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
okay, so what they're doing is they're eliminating graduation requirements because their graduation rates are so low. So anything the kids will have trouble with, they're going to try to eliminate it so that the people cannot see if the schools are actually doing their jobs or not. And the best way to tell that is to go to your state Department of Education and look at their latest test scores. And that'll answer that for you for sure.
We've been actually the test scores in our area have been generally very well. But my question was, is a couple of people asked me if they didn't pass it in the years prior and only got like a certificate that they attended school and didn't graduate due to not passing the MCAS, will they now receive a diploma? Like, is this like
no, not likely. No,
just
not
going
likely.
forward?
It'll probably start for this year's incoming first year of high school, ninth grade, I'm guessing in your state, but
That's what I
ninth
thought.
grade incoming. But FYI, all states have a substitute for those tests, which is the ACT or the SAT, and they
Yep.
can take those tests all the way up to they go to their grave and upgrade their certificate of completion to a regular diploma. Stand by for more.
Lots to update. Real quickly before I move on, it looks like Joe was asking, what do you all think of that bill they passed at 2 a.m. this morning? So much pork, it makes pig look skinny. So probably another omnibus bill. I totally missed that one. So are you familiar with that one, Terry?
Sure. And you guys make me laugh. But yes, there was that much pork in it, and it was to make up for additional monies that were being spent while they were out that Biden was already approving and doing, so that it's a cleanup bill. So there's nothing that we can do about any of that at this point. And yes, they do go on till 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
Yeah. And sometimes
Anybody want to be my night shift?
working on the night shift. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. See, that's just it. It's like Nancy Pelosi, you're going to have to pass it to see what's in it. That's how it works. We need to really get away with that. I've talked about that on previous shows before. I am all for one item bills. And I know it sounds crazy, but I am so tired of them including other things when if you're going to name it the border bill, then I want it to have nothing in it but border stuff. That's it. Money for the border and where that money's going to go. That's it. I don't want anything else on there. And then why is it so hard? If I can put notes together on paper, 2 or 3 pieces of paper, that could be one bill, that could be another bill, and we could go on and on. That's the way I see it. I just hate the fact that they crush everything in there because they know everybody's not going to read it, and they all have their own agendas and why they want it hidden in the middle and they want it passed, between thousands of sheets of paper. I just hate omnibus bills. I don't like them. Those are standalone bills. You can call them whatever you want. Single item bills, standalone bills, that's what I like. I'm right there with you, brother. I sure wish they did it that way. I do too, Chris. I really do. I don't know if we'll ever see that, but we can always hope and pray. So I think that covers all the questions now. So I just wanted to go over this real quick, and then we're going to move on to some stuff. Chapter 5, the framers of the Constitution. I don't want to read this whole thing. I just want to go over some parts, and I'm just making a point about the diverse people that we're putting in positions right now is where I'm going with this. Excuse me. The 55 of individuals who penned the Constitution were a diverse group, but very representative of America at the time. For example, most were open and active Christians, not all of them. Among their number were James McHenry, founder of the Maryland Bible Society, Rufus King, a founder of the New York Common Prayer Book Society, Roger Sherman, author of several Christian theological pieces, Abraham Baldwin, who was offered the professor of divinity and theology at Yale, and it goes on and on. Some came from large cities, such as James Wilson from Philadelphia, Nathaniel Gorham from Boston, and others from remote rural areas. Let's see. Moving on here. Several kept written notes of the proceedings, such as Robert Yates and William Patterson, but James Madison kept the most extensive ones, and other delegates, including Benjamin Franklin and Charles Pinckney, gave Madison the text of their key speeches for him to include in his notes. This is really telling here. From these records, we know that some delegates spoke often during these debates, such as Governor Morris, who spoke 173 times, James Wilson 168 times, and Roger Sherman 147 times, while others were relatively quiet. Goes on to say that many delegates contributed significant ideas that led to distinctive features in the final document. For example, Roger Sherman and his Connecticut Compromise helped resolve the contentious debate over representation. on and on and on. But when you read through this chapter, they're talking about the Electoral College was a brilliant innovation that gave not just the people, but also the states a voice in choosing a president. It covers all this. And what's my point? My point is that there were so many people that came from these different colonies that had different religious beliefs and thoughts. They thought politically different, and they did all these things again from a different walk of life. Some came from afar, some came, close. The point is that we have a diverse number of people that are being picked, for these positions in our government right now, this next administration. And I think we have a lot of diverse, thought processes that are going to be coming in, and I think it's a good thing. I really do. I think we're going to check each other, keep everybody, in check, balanced, the whole 9 yards. So, again, if you've never read this book, The American Story, The Beginnings, read it. It's all about from the beginning, the Constitution, all of that stuff. It is really a good book. I just don't have the time to go through it because it's really long, some of the chapters.
You said American Story.
Yep, The American Story, The Beginnings. I have Kindle, so I get on there and read a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, go check that out if you have time. It's good for the kids. You can read it to the kids. But again, people don't really stop and think about what Donald Trump is doing right now and then try to compare it to how our beginnings even happened. And it takes a lot of different people with different ideas, different thought processes. They argued back and forth, they debated, whatever you want to call it, and they all came to a final document that was signed off on. So I'm sure not everybody was totally happy with what they came up with, but it was the end result, and it has served us well. So give this administration a chance once they get in there. Don't be so quick to judge. As I said before, I'm not a big fan of Marco Rubio, really. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't dislike the guy. It's just something, he just doesn't he's not on my radar. Matt Gaetz, I like him a lot, but I don't trust any of them. I'm just who I am because I want to see results. If you show me the results, I'm happy. We're not going to be kissing and hugging and holding hands. I just want you to do your job, and I am happy. So that's the kind of person that I am. I'm not a big fan of Rubio either, brother. Chris said, and again, I don't hate anybody. Everybody knows that. It's not that. It's just, and I couldn't sit here and say, hey, Rubio, this and that, but it's just something about him he's just not one of my favorites. It's that simple. And Ted Cruz isn't either. I don't know. I can't explain it. They're just not my favorites. So anyway,
people are agreeing with you, Lou.
Yeah, and Rubio, I'm giving him a chance because Trump has trusted him, and I think that they're going to work together. And Thune, I have to hope because he wasn't my pick. We all know it was Rick Scott. So keep all of that in mind. We're going to have a lot of things going on, and maybe it's going to take us a little time to understand as this puzzle comes together. So it's better than what we got now. Everyone has to agree on that. And if you can't see that, then yeah, you've got bigger problems than giving it some time and let them, settle in and get some stuff because they're gonna hit the ground running. There is no doubt about it. I've never seen anything quite this serious, and everything is it's direct. It's like he knows exactly what he wants to do, and he's not playing around this time. And maybe it's because there's a lot of things working in his favor now that weren't working in his favor before. The votes are already done. They already know he's won. So a lot of all that outside noise is past already. So he can move on with what he needs to do. So that's a good thing. But if nobody else has anything to add to that, Terry or Gina, I'm going to go ahead and move on to something here that I have. I have several things, actually. Let's go ahead and play this one. Oh man, I love this woman. This woman's one of my favorite women of all time. She's hot. She's intelligent. I can't say enough good things about her. But anyway, her name's Anna Navarro, in case you didn't know. She's crying that she doesn't believe the voters knew that Donald Trump was being serious about mass deportations. And I don't know why these people can't get it into their heads that illegal aliens were a big reason that he won, and that most Americans would be upset with him if he didn't try to do it. So, but anyway, here's this beautiful woman here. Everyone just enjoy this clip.
Look, Donald Trump won the electoral vote. He won. He's going to win the House. He won the Senate. For all effects and purposes, he's got the Supreme Court. They've given him immunity. This is what the country voted for. This is, you know, a lot of people thought that when he talked about mass deportations, he wasn't being serious. I don't know how many times he had to say it for people to realize he was being serious. Well, if you thought he wasn't being serious, the appointment of Tom Homan today as border czar, and he will be in charge of a mass deportation program, the largest the country has ever seen, they say. And now Stephen Miller, as deputy chief of staff, should let you know that he was absolutely serious. And when you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, you know, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around and you're about to find out.
My message to you is you have screwed around and you're about to find out. So, and it sounds like it might be some of your relatives as well, Navarro. That woman is every one of those women. I mean, I'm being nice. I'm being nice. They got major issues going around that whole table. That whole table. And as Dan Bongino said today, and it is absolutely true, I could do every show that I do just by pulling clips from The View. All I got to do is pull them up. I could make so many cuts and go boom, boom. That's 2 hours worth of show right there. It's true. There's so many of these shows out there, CNN, MSNBC. I can get so many clips. It's a plethora of stuff. You never run out. It's that serious. But to listen to what they said, what part of him saying that he was going to do this did they not believe? I don't understand where they're coming from, because when he spoke about building the border wall, he wasn't kidding. He wanted to build the border wall, and they fought him every step of the way in the first administration. Anybody have any ideas why these women think, or at least her and others think, that he wasn't serious about this? And now that they realize that he's serious, now they're going to do the fear mongering thing. Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Actually, it sounds more typical to me than crazy. They, that's just, you know, that's just normal. I mean, you know, we got people out there shaving their heads, for Pete's sake. So, that it's just, they just cannot accept the fact that the United States of America is supposed to be a sovereign country, and this is not supposed to be happening. So they just won't accept it. They won't. And when they start, it's going to be your grandma. It could be this person. It could be that person. Maybe it is. But it's like Tom Holman said when they asked him, well, what if you have to split up a family? And he said he doesn't have to split up a family. They could make a choice to all go. They don't have to stay here in the United States just because they're a citizen. They're welcome to go too. It's not like we're just going to intentionally split them up. And on top of that, just think of the number of people that are pulled away from their families in the United States of America every single day to go to jail over something silly. So, you know, we do it all the time. So let's not act all, oh my God, it's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, if you have a family member, and I have family down in Mexico, I still have, on my father's side, I still have relatives very distant. I don't know who they are, very distant, but over in Cuba, I have them down in South America. But I've said this before. I don't care if they have the same last name or they're related to my great grandmother or my great grandfather's line. The bottom line is, if you want to seek asylum, you go to a port of entry, do it the legal way. You want to become an American citizen. There's steps for that. You have to do it the legal way, the way I see it. And then, if I ever get to meet you and we're distant cousins or whatever, cool. Then we'll meet, or maybe someday we'll cross paths. But until then, it doesn't matter if it's family for me because I could care less. I'm not going to, show favoritism because of that in any way or form. So yeah, this Tom Homan, which actually segues into my very next clip. This is only 53 seconds long, but this is Tom Homan saying, telling us that he's seen some of the Democrat governors say they're going to stand in the way of deportations and make it hard for them. A suggestion: if you're not going to help us, then get the hell out of the way because we're going to do it. So check this out.
Trump, he was suing the sanctuary cities, DOJ suing the sanctuary cities, pulling federal funds. Of course, day one, when Joe Biden came in office, he stopped that lawsuit. So that has to be put back in place. And look, I've seen some of these Democratic governors say they're going to stand in the way. They're going to make it hard for us. Well, a suggestion: if you're not going to help us, get the hell out of the way, because we're going to do it. So if we can't get assistance from New York City, and we may have to double the number of agents we send in New York City, because we're going to do the job. We're going to do the job without you or with you. But it's much easier to arrest a bad guy. Like I just said, we're concentrating on public safety threats of human and national security threats. Right. It's much easier to arrest a bad guy in the jail. Give us access to Rikers Island that we've been kicked out of. Let us get the bad guy in the jail. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. It's safer for the community. But if we go and release.
So he's looking rough compared to some of the earlier shots we saw in some of the video. I mean, I know we're all aging. I'm not being, I'm just being honest. He looks like he's having some issues. I don't know. He's lost some weight, that's for sure. So maybe that's what it is, plus the aging factor. So, but yeah, that's exactly it. And speaking of New York, I think Mayor Adams is the only one right now that seems like he's on board with, I think I should be working with the administration instead of fighting against them, like the last show where we talked about J.B. Pritzker and Maura Healey up in Boston and Gavin Newsom out there in California. I mean, right off the bat, you got to go through me, J.B. Pritzker. Yeah, that was real funny. Just a bag of donuts off to the side and he'll be over there in a heartbeat. So, but yeah, these people, they didn't learn, Terry and Gina, they didn't learn from the November 5th election that the American people spoke very loudly and strongly for all of these things that Trump is already starting to put together. And that's the part that really just blows my mind, is that they're not stupid enough they're not. I don't care what people think of them, but they're not this stupid. They're just trying to hang on to every hair or fiber that's left of the old regiment that's about ready to be discarded. And it's glorious to watch. It really is, because I don't feel any sympathy for these people who have put us through all of this stuff. It's just not a good thing. And I see Tom Homan. I see a lot of good people coming into this administration who are going to take this very seriously, and they're going to make some stuff happen. They're shakers and movers. There's no doubt about that. So any comments? Oh, here's one. Monkey, the old poop slinger. So VP in the Senate seems to be another interpretation issue. There was never supposed to be a majority leader. The VP was in charge, and when the VP wasn't available, there was a president pro tempore. Yep.
Hold on, Lou. Hold on, Lou. Monkey, I am so proud of you. I just cannot tell you how proud I am of you. That's awesome job.
Any more comments? You want to comment on that more, Terry? Are you?
No, that's why I said I was still researching it. But I've just known him for a very long time, and that's great. I love it. Go for it. Go get me some more information, Monkey.
But she's like a sponge, she's like me. I like to read and learn things, and if I don't know something, I'm gonna go find out about it and read, especially if it crosses my radar or I want to talk about it. So Joe says he might be hanging around RFK, Lou, getting in shape. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. He's definitely lost weight. There's no doubt about that because he's kind of sunk in, but he just looks a little haggard, like he's been on the road again way too long. Yeah, looks like it evolved into a majority leader. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they just do because they want to, you know? VP is president of the Senate. The vice president was the sole power to break a tie vote in the Senate and formally presides over the receiving and counting of electoral ballots cast in presidential elections, says Joe. All right, go ahead.
Joe, my question about that is that nothing was ever passed or done to reverse what was originally the vice president's total authority, as if there was no majority leader. That's what I can't find, and that's what I'm looking for. So it's a possibility that they let that little morsel of information slip through their fingers and never actually corrected it, or I haven't found it yet.
Well, and I'll guarantee if anybody's going to find it, she will find it. Terry will, that is. So anyway, I'm just backtracking real quick because I don't get a chance to stay in the chat because I'm doing other things. But looks like Joyce said, Navarro, we all knew that was the plan. It was part of why so many voted for Trump. And then I think Joe had some questions about John Wayne's famous saying regarding Navarro being hot. Not hardly. Yeah, that was me being very, very sarcastic. So, yeah, I don't care for any of those ladies on The View. So there's actually, I can't remember her name, but one of them's a former supposed Republican. So she sits on, if you're watching the show, she sits at the right. Terry would probably know her name, but she's not real popular to me, so I don't retain her name at all in my mind. All right, this next one here is this one's a long one, but we're not going to play the whole thing. This is Donald Trump's nomination, Matt Gaetz, and this is when he is, he's going to be the Attorney General, and that's another big making some heads implode and explode either way. But anyway, in June, Gaetz ripped Attorney General Merrick Garland over the justice system's coordinated effort to go after Donald Trump. And in this clip, Gaetz says, "You've told us it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the DOJ is communicating with state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the DOJ provide to the committee all documents between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fani Willis' office and Letitia James's office?" So I'm just going to give you a tidbit of what Matt Gaetz is like for those of you who don't follow him or listen to him. You can see what he's about and who he is. So check this out we'll just play it for a little bit.
You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fani Willis' office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
If you make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction, which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing.
All right, so that was just 2 minutes of 5 minutes, so everybody gets the point.
I just
He's a
sent
very
something to Lou, though.
what's that? You sent it
Did
to
you
me?
see it? Yeah, so these are the headlines that we get on the news channel up here in Mass. Tonight, live at 9, President-elect Trump picks Representative Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, a decision raising eyebrows on both sides of the aisle.
Wow. Interesting. I just got into the private chat. Are we taking someone down for a minute? Okay. All right. All right, we're going to take Terry down just for a minute. But anyway, so read that over again one more time.
President-elect Trump picks Representative Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, a decision raising eyebrows on both sides of the aisle.
Wow. And that's coming from your local?
That's coming from the local news.
Wow. Very interesting.
I'm curious on what they say, but I won't know because it comes on at 9.
Yeah. Well, if you're streaming, you probably don't stream though. So, yeah, he's a lawyer, but he's very smart. It was my whole point that a lot of
Why would
people
he be
don't.
concerned on both sides, though?
Why what?
Why would he be concerning for both sides? Like, why are they saying that both sides are concerned about this?
Your guess is as good as mine. I would love to be able to see that. So I don't know if you can find that. What channel was it again up there?
That was Channel 7 News.
Channel 7 out of Boston. I should be able to find them. And you should be able to go get you should
for
be able
sure.
to find
They have a website.
Yeah, so I have no idea what they're getting at. We'll have to wait and see. So but anyway,
I can answer that, Lou.
Go ahead.
I can answer that, Lou. The the ethics committee in the House still has Matt Gaetz under investigation. They've been trying since 2023 to prove the minor being with a girl that was either just that age or a minor and things like that. It's been going on for a very long time. The Department of Justice dropped charges shortly after they started them in 2023. And
Yeah.
the ethics committee is still going after it. So, and Monkey got it right again. The rhinos don't like him at all. He causes too much of an uproar, and they dislike him because of what happened with the Speaker of the House issues.
Kevin McCarthy and
he just has a lot of enemies up there, and he can't really help having enemies when you're fighting the rhino system or the uniparty, whatever you want to call it. Those are the kind of things that happen. So
yeah,
they know he's gonna come out swinging, and they don't like it. That's why it's both sides.
Yeah, and he's fighting the establishment is the best way for everyone to understand that he stands up to them just like Trump does. And that's why we have a lot of concerns and worry for those as well, because those who don't like Trump and didn't like Trump underneath, they still don't like Trump. But we'll all see, how that all plays out. And also the only ones, one Republican side are those who are still part of the swamp. So yes, agree. Absolutely. Gates doesn't play swamp ball. And I don't know. I don't know what to think about if something really did happen with him and whatever they're trying to get him for. But we'll see in time. I would have thought that if they had something on him by now, they probably would have done something, but who knows? You know how the law works when you have lawyers going back and forth that could go on for years and years. And we all know that there's lots of politicians up there in Washington who have their own little fund where they pay off people who come out and accuse them of things that they probably have done just to hush money is what I'm saying. So saw an interview. This is Chris from Mayhem, Morning Mayhem. Saw an interview with former Rep George Santos, and then when questioned about certain folks in Congress being corrupt, he didn't hold back when asked about Gates. He said he was a good guy, not corrupt. Yeah, there's a lot of people that say that, but I mean, if you were with a girl that was younger than you were supposed to be with, I wouldn't call that corrupt. I would call it could have been an honest mistake. It could have been maybe you did it knowing. I don't know. I'm not here to judge him because I don't know that much about it. So that is what still worries me about Vance. He did not like Trump either. Yeah, well, it is what it is. We're never really going to know until we see. But some of these people in here, um, I think Terry would probably agree. These are way past what Vance had thought and said. These are people who literally tried to take him down with the rest of the Pelosi's and the Schumers and everybody else. So I think there's some people who maybe, I'm going to give Vance a pass. I think that he felt maybe that things weren't going to be so great. And then he saw what Trump was capable of and what he did. I've changed my mind about people that I didn't care about. So,
Hey, I didn't like Trump.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Well, again, I guess what I'm saying is there's more corruption and more monsters buried deep in some of these people than JD Vance is ever going to be, from what I know and see of him. So, we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Vance changed back in 2021 once he knew what Trump was all about. Yeah, I just kind of said that same thing. No, wait, I think it was 2019. Anyway, he changed his mind. So, yeah. But again, we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. It's going to be really interesting. So, time will tell, that's for sure. So, this next clip that I have, let me get rid of this one that I just played so it's not in the way. This is Senate Insider Dissident Clint at Dissident Clint on X explains how J.D. Vance could still effectively serve as Senate Majority Leader if John Thune obstructs the MAGA mandate. Now, this is the one I was talking about earlier. It's only 1:19 long. There is a little known procedure in the Senate that gives the Majority Leader the right to be recognized on the floor first. Who decides to recognize them? The person sitting in the chair at the front of the room, and that chair belongs to J.D. Vance. Anyone else sitting in that chair is borrowing his seat. He can walk in the room, kick them out, take the seat, and recognize whoever he wants and who is going to move President Trump's nominees. He can actually decide who is running the show. So let's check out what he has to say here. Again, this is on the Glenn Beck Show.
If you have a Thune and he begins to become an obstructionist, does the president have the ability to say, J.D. Vance, go in there and take control of the Senate and do
Absolutely.
what John Adams did?
Absolutely. So you've talked about this. You've been great about it. There is a little known procedure in the Senate that gives the majority leader the right to be recognized on the floor first. Who decides to recognize them? The person sitting in the chair at the front of the room. That chair belongs to J.D. Vance. Anybody else sitting in that chair is borrowing his seat. He can walk in the room, kick them out, take the seat, and recognize whoever he wants who is going to move President Trump's nominees. So he can actually decide really who's running the show.
Why haven't they done that in the past?
There was talk in the last Trump administration of doing this. I ultimately don't know why they decided not to. There's always a negotiation about these kind of things. Having the threat of doing that is certainly powerful, and maybe Pence just wasn't comfortable with it. JD would probably be a lot more comfortable with that.
Oh, yeah.
He's been a senator.
All right. What do you think about that, Terry?
I think that is 100. Actually, I know that is 100% true, and something that kind of one of the things that made me start looking into other possible powers for the president of the Senate. That's what kind of got me looking into it. There's a lot of ways to get around things in both the House and the Senate that they just don't do because they're nobody wants to stir the pot. Well, there's a whole bunch of people up there right now, and more coming into Senate and the House that don't mind stirring the pot. That's going to be their whole point, is to get up there and stir the pot. Less cowards and more warriors, and that's what we got to keep doing. We got to keep getting rid of the ones who just want to play status quo, and bring in some people that don't mind ruffling a few feathers along the way.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, when you come across stuff like this and you start learning more and more, there's probably a lot more about our government that we don't know, because as you heard Glenn Beck, he's like, well, why haven't we heard about this, or why hasn't this been done? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they're not going to give us, come out with any information like this that's going to help in certain situations. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people that are up there in the Senate, the House, and all that might not even know about this. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's true, because the Senate, the parties, both the RNC and the Democrat Party, both have like where they bring everybody in and they say, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this, 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 and this. This is how you get to be on a committee and things like that. One of the reasons that I know people didn't think of, that I was so upset, or not upset, that's the wrong word, frustrated that that Thune was becoming the Senate Majority Leader, is because since he's a Mitch McConnell puppet, all of the different seats that involve any kind of leadership, as well as people that are running different committees, like the judiciary or Homeland Security, they have a ton of different places up there where they bid to serve, and the higher up they go in that is actually based on how much money they bring into the party, and people don't realize that. It's not their expertise or anything like that. So if none of that's going to change, and if it had been Rick Scott that came in, all of the leadership and all of the people over all of the different committees would have changed. They would have been moved around or gotten rid of. So there's a lot going on up there. It's a flipping nightmare,
to say the least. That's putting it mildly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole lot worse than people know.
Yeah, more than we could imagine. That's for sure. So,
yes, sir.
Man, I guess I got like 2 clips of each thing here, but we kind of touched on this on the last show, so we're going to kind of hop around here now, since we've been talking about all the politics and all the big changes that Trump is making. So through all of these policy changes, or not policy changes, well, there probably are some coming, but through the policies that are going to be installed or put in place here, and the people filling the positions, and just the mere fact that Donald Trump and someone is strong. Now, when I look at JD Vance and compare him, and it's a stark contrast to Mike Pence, and I'm just being honest here. Mike was very quiet, reserved. JD Vance is totally the opposite, and he's a door kicker if he wants to be. And I just see that what we've put in office to be our next president and vice president again has, again, as I've said this on the last show, it's sent shockwaves, ripples around the world, not just here in our own country, domestically. It did it through foreign adversaries, allies, everybody. Whether you were on our side, outside of the United States, or, you're for us or against us, it still sent shockwaves. It made a difference. And the man is, it's been since November 5th. Things have already changed, and he's not even in office yet, officially. And we have to keep talking about this, because this is what the left has even noticed, and they're trying to wrap their minds, their little pea brains around this. How is this even possible? Well, we've been telling you, you just haven't been listening. That when this man says something, they literally don't know if he's being serious or if he's not. But I will go as far as to say this: the story that I heard from two different sources that we played on the show before, about him showing the picture of a compound or a home to one of the leaders in the Middle East. And that guy's like, well, why do you have a picture of that? Well, think about it. I can come get you at any time I want. I can take you and your family out. And that's the kind of leaders that we need. People said, oh, he didn't say that, but there's sources out there that witnessed it and saw it and heard it. So this, again, is the leadership that we need in this country because of what we're up against out there. So just here's a real short clip of, big bad Vladimir Putin, 28 seconds. This is the kind of, talk that we're getting out of Russia now all of a sudden, just because Trump has been elected as the next president.
Well, the fact that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate, says that he's ready and wants to stop the war in Ukraine, we take that very seriously. Well, I haven't seen his ideas on how exactly he's going to do that, and that is the key question. But I have no doubt that he says that sincerely, and we support that.
Okay, so read between the lines. Yeah, he does say that, well, it depends on what his plans are. We might not agree with it, but he's also telling you that, something that they haven't said in the last 4 years. Why haven't we heard anything remotely close to this in the last 4 years? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares whatsoever. They want this war to keep going on. And again, now we're dealing with, this isn't Harris and Biden anymore. Now we're talking about Donald Trump again. Putin already knows what this man's about and what he's made of. He's already dealt with him a previous 4 years. So the world's already been introduced to Trump. This isn't nothing new to them. So by them realigning themselves and talking totally different now, that tells you, that's the equivalent of you left the kids at home with the loving mother who's so easygoing on the kids, and they're running rampant through the house. And soon as daddy walks in, walks in the door, it gets quiet and everybody's good.
I know that face. I have 3 kids.
Daddy's home. Uh-oh. So this is what, we keep seeing that phrase out there, daddy's back, your daddy's home, talking about Trump. It's the same concept. The world, the adults are back in the White House, and things are going to be different. So here's the next clip that I have. These are world leaders all over the place. Just a little under 2 minutes, but check out some of the things that are being said, again, around the world, just because of who is in the presidency or will be.
But first, Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv, Israel. Trey.
Yeah, hey, Brian, good morning. Reaction is pouring in from around the world following former President Trump's projected election victory. We do know there will be major foreign policy decisions under this new administration that will affect countries like Ukraine, Iran, Israel, and everywhere in between. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted to X saying, quote, "Congratulations to Donald Trump on his impressive election victory." The Ukrainian leader went on to praise Trump for his peace through strength approach to global affairs. The Emir of Qatar also posted a similar message saying, quote, "Congratulations to President-elect Donald Trump on winning the U.S. presidential election. I wish you all the best during your term and look forward to working together again." Arguably the most notable congratulations, though, came from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said, quote, "Congratulations on history's greatest comeback. Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America. This is a huge victory." Overnight, Prime Minister Netanyahu fired his defense minister, Yoav Gallant, sparking massive demonstrations across Israel. While Americans are at the polls, Israelis are in the streets of Tel Aviv demonstrating after Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired the country's defense minister, Yoav Gallant. The move will have a direct impact on U.S.-Israel relations Trump's election victory comes at a turning point for the Middle East. Experts say they believe under the new administration there could be more normalization deals between countries like Saudi Arabia and Israel. Brian?
Let's hope, Trey, while we wait to see if Iran's really going to attack. Now this.
All right. So again, what did we all just hear? What's the common denominator? Everyone thinks that there's a better chance of things being more normal in the world. We never heard this in the last 4 years, not even from Trey Yingst or anyone else. And I like that guy. But why didn't we hear any of this with Biden and Harris? Because it didn't exist. Nobody thought that there was even a possibility of having a normal, or at least being back to what it was in the 2016 administration with Trump and Pence. I won't even mention Pence. I'll just say Donald Trump. I still get excited seeing the poll numbers on the side. Yeah, even though that was an old clip. And I don't know what they were thinking when he was trying to walk around with all them protesters in that fire, because you could barely hear him there. That was really horrible. But it was part of it, and I thought we'd still go ahead and play it. But again, it goes back to what I was saying. The world has been put on notice again. And if you listen to some of the people who maybe, I mean, they're allies, but yet they're not really, if that makes any sense, they're saying good things. And then the ones are, our enemies, our foes, they're definitely saying good things because they know, as I said earlier, daddy's home. Things are about to change. And it's the best thing that could happen, but you're not going to hear anybody on the left talk about this because I think Terry might have said something earlier that they're scared to death that people are going to realize and people are going to understand that there is a huge difference on what we've had the last 4 years and what we had before that and what is back again. And again, I mean, it just blows me away that just by being the name and who you are is already has people standing at attention around the world. I just think it's awesome. It really is, especially for the United States. So I got two really short clips, and then I have one on Thune, however you want to pronounce his name, where he's just addressing everyone. And then we can just talk and we'll wrap this one up. But these two short clips are little clips that I found. Go ahead and drop us all down, Gina, if you would. They're both those little thin, like, TikTok done with the phone. But these are actually human traffickers and some of the things that are happening that we're fighting. And I can't wait for them to crack down on this border invasion because the links that these people go through to get people inside this country is amazing. So go ahead and take me down. Let's check it out.
I'm taking a video, bro. Hold on. Alright, I got pictures. Fuck. Yep. Oh, wait. I'm taking a video, bro. Hold on. Alright, I got pictures. Fuck. Yep. Oh, wait.
This other one right away. Just so you know, what if they're in an accident? Those people are dead. They're done. I've never seen that one before. Here's the next one. Go ahead and take us back down, please. Back up. Wow.
How do
People
you
hidden
breathe
like
in
that.
there?
You'd be surprised. I mean, this isn't nothing compared to putting them in shipping containers and stuff
Yeah.
to where they're sweating to death and, urinating and defecating all over each other and everything else when they're on these ships and who knows what else. But I don't know. When you see stuff like that, you know that the cartel's running rampant. we've got a major problem. This is nothing new. It's just
we
a
haven't seen this
reminder.
in a while.
No,
They're scared. They know what's coming.
yeah, absolutely. So, again, it's just a reminder of the things that, I mean, we're still going to catch this once in a while because normally what they just did to those trucks, that's where they find the cocaine and the heroin and the marijuana, not human beings.
Skip that.
Yeah, and some of those were kids. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. So, all right, I'm gonna play this
Hey,
last
Lou.
clip here. Oh, go ahead, hon.
I don't know if you guys follow. I know that I share his stuff. It's very difficult to watch, but some of it is very difficult to watch. Aguero for Texas. He's been on the border for, he's been on the border for approximately 10 years now. And he gives you the real thing. And like I said, some of it's very, very difficult to watch. But what some of these people do and go through is, and the things that happen to them along the way, he documents, and he documents it in real time. And it's, like I said, it's difficult, but it will give you the illegal immigration that goes on across that border is detrimental to everybody that's involved in it, not just the United States and not just those people. It's really bad. So if you don't follow Aguero for Texas, I will post something from him tomorrow and let it get out there.
Yeah, do that, and then when I see it come through, I'll go ahead and quote it and everything, and we'll push it. But yeah, that's I did follow him. If you remember, you and I, Terry, and I don't know if Gina, I think Gina got in on some of it, but I watched for like straight 7 hours one day that he was down there. Oh my goodness. When what is it? Diligent Denizen or whatever is with him.
Diligent Denizen, and yeah, they did. Actually, I think, Lou, it was almost 8 hours, but it was two consecutive days. One was not as long as the other, but one was about 6 hours, and then the next day was about 8 hours. And they went through all of the different camps, and they actually got, if you remember, on the last day, they actually got some illegal aliens, and it actually showed how Aguero treats those people with the respect and things, and finds out where they're from and where they're going. They already know where they're going and have everything set up before they get here. It's actually quite amazing.
Yeah, I was that one you're speaking of that we watched, you and I at the same time as when he went down there to that group, the first group that they went down there and met, and he grabbed the kid and was carrying the little kid with him. So yeah, it's heart wrenching really when you think about it. So, but anyway, when she posts that, I'll push it out. Anyone who's interested in, when you have some time, watch all of that because, they have if you watch a lot of his stuff, you'll find what they call the rape trees and, where they take the undergarments of the women and the kids and stuff and they throw them up into a tree and that's all it is. It's like it's not the proper way to say it or explain it, but it's like a Christmas tree full of lights, but only they use the undergarments or the women's panties and decorate the tree, and that's their marking. So of what the atrocities that they've done. So anyway, anyone's interested in that stuff going on down at the border, you can definitely check that out. When she pushes it, I will let you know as well. So, all right, here's Thune. I thought we would play this John Thune little clip of him speaking. Again, we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. I'm not going to jump to conclusions or jump the gun, as we like to say, just yet, but we'll see. Everyone check this. Oh, yep. Bring that question back up if you want. I'm sorry. Joe said, and you need to keep in mind, any other nation would imprison these people instead of holding them for a time and then letting them stay. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on where you're at in the world. There's a much more harsher punishments around the world for even trying to enter someone's borders. And it should be that way because we have to protect ourselves. As we know now, there's all kinds of people in our country doing all kinds of harm and destruction to our economy, to our people. Not to mention, we haven't even seen the worst of it yet, because I'm sure there's people here who want to seriously do us harm in the way of terrorism. So I hope and pray that that never comes to fruition, but we never know. So, all right, let's check out this clip here real quick.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. It's a new day in the United States Senate, and it's a new day in America. The American people have loudly rejected the failed policies of the Biden, Harris, Schumer agenda. And this Republican team is united. We are on one team. We are excited to reclaim the majority and to get to work with our colleagues in the House to enact President Trump's agenda. We have a mandate from the American people, a mandate not only to clean up the mess left by the Biden, Harris, Schumer agenda, but also to deliver on President Trump's priorities. We will make sure that the President and his team have the tools and the support that they need to enforce border security laws and to remove the violent criminals who are wreaking havoc in every one of our states. We will work to make America prosperous again by streamlining the bureaucratic machine and overturning costly Biden-Harris regulations. And we will work to restore American energy dominance. Not just our energy security, but energy dominance, which will lower costs and bolster our national security. I'm excited to get to work with this team right away, and I want to thank my colleagues who placed their faith in me to serve as leader, and to those who were supporting another candidate. I promise to be a leader who serves the entire Republican conference. We'll have an ambitious agenda, and we'll take each and every Republican working together to be successful.
We will see. We will see. And as I said before, I'm not going to get excited about any of his words, because I don't care to get to know him. I don't want to be friends with him. I just want him to do what he was sent there to do, and that was represent and serve the people. So if he can pull this off, and he made note of, yeah, I know I'm not Rick Scott, which many of you wanted, but he's making it known that he's going to do the same job. So we'll see. Time will tell. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to say it. I'll tell everyone openly. But right now, I'm very cautious. And I'm that way with all politicians. I'm that way with Josh Hawley. Because, speaking of that, someone had talked about that list. Joe said that he hadn't seen the list of those who actually did vote for Rick Scott. I had it. I just didn't. It's somewhere on one of our posts or something today, Terry. I know it's out there. You have it?
I'll go get it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead if you would while I'm talking, and let me know. But yeah, again, like Josh Hawley, I love the things that he says. Eric Schmidt, I know, is one Missouri politician that did vote for Rick Scott, but Hawley didn't. And again, it goes back to, I think they should have voted for what we, the people, wanted, because we sent a very strong message on November 5th, and they should have said, you know what, this is who we want, but the people have spoken and we need to go with this. And I think that's the route they should have taken. I really do. And is there a possibility that we could have been wrong and maybe Rick Scott wouldn't have done what we think he would have done? Absolutely. I'd be a hypocrite if I said, no way, because I don't know. They're politicians. They serve in Washington. They serve something else besides us. And we just have to come to terms with that. But we also have to hold their feet to the fire and push hard. And as I said to Terry in a post today, or a tweet, that we have to keep pushing hard. We have to keep our foot on the pedal, especially while we have the momentum right now. Right after this election. So if we're going to do this and force their hand, we have to keep doing. We got to do it now. So did you find it, Terry?
If one of you guys can look in the private chat, the first link that I sent you is the list of people that originally voted for Rick Scott, and the second post I sent you is a present for everybody that says. It gives a list of every senator that voted for Merrick Garland, and we're going to use that to track to see who actually votes for Matt Gaetz. How's that for a president?
There you go. So, excuse me. So for everybody out there, the senators who voted the way we wanted them to was Ted Cruz, Marsha Blackburn, Bill Hagerty, Ron Johnson, Mike Lee, Cynthia Loomis, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, Eric Schmidt, Missouri, Rick Scott himself, Cindy Hyde Smith, Tommy Tuberville, and J.D. Vance. So that was the list of people who voted the way we wanted them to. Let me go into this one here. I don't know if it's going to be how extensive. Here are all the Republicans who voted for Garland as AG. Why would they vote for Garland and not Gaetz? So this is a very extensive one. I'm not going through this list, but as Terry said, you can I can share this in the show notes so that everyone can click on it later and go check it out if you would. But Joe, hopefully that answers your question on who did vote for Rick Scott. So everyone else did not. It's pretty obvious once you go through that.
The Fox also put it in the comment section, so
okay,
you can they can pick it up from there as well. Both lists.
Awesome. So there you go. That pretty much, I see it now. That pretty much covers it. And I think I was trying to see if there was anything that we had missed. Yeah, I hope he stands by the words, Joe. But again, you never know. I swear if Thunos don't play ball, I'm going to get hostile, said Monkey. Breathe, Monkey, Karen said. Oh, my goodness. Well, I always tell everybody who follows, and I know it gets old, but I'm going to keep, pounding it home that I want all of you to quit. Those of you who do, when I say fall in love with a politician, I mean someone you got high hopes for them. You really think that they're going to be good, and oh man, they speak. They speak with a golden tongue and all of that. Get out of that mode of thinking. Stop, because they're all in Washington D.C. Regardless, I don't care if they tell you I'm a follower of Jesus. Well, so was Mike Pence. Okay, there you go. Enough said. Just remember, you're not there to go on a date with them, have a beer, any of these things. There's only one thing that all of us should be concerned with, and that is the job that they do, the end result. Because if they don't produce, then they are a waste of our time. If they don't get anything accomplished, they have done nothing except take up space in Washington. They didn't do any of the people any good. And if they do us good, which is, the Republicans and the MAGA movement, it's never going to go away. It's a movement that's always going to be here. And if they do good for us, they're also doing good for the Democrats and the lunatic left. They just don't know it. Okay. So this administration, these people that are being put in place, it's going to benefit all of us involved in this country, and probably outside of our borders as well, because it's going to help out with trade deals. It's going to help in ways that we'll never imagine. Just like it has in the past. So Joe said, I wonder if he's able to change as well. I say, yes, let's give him some rope and we'll see if he runs out of it. Yeah, that's what I said. Just, I don't know. I think politicians, naturally, most of them, they hate us. And that's my thing, is that because we're in their way, they hate us, the Constitution. All of these things are an obstacle that gets in their way, and they don't like that. And if they had their way and they could take that away, then they could run roughshod right over us. Just imagine if we didn't have a Constitution. Think about that, people. What if we did not have one? What it would be like? We wouldn't be talking right now. We wouldn't be able to have a show like this. So be pretty crazy when you get right down to it. We wouldn't have any freedoms or anything. So, and I'm going to end with this. I'm not even going to do our sponsor. Speaking of freedoms, in her book, Melania Trump, I want to go through this, and everyone really think about this. She described the text on her phone, a text message that she received at 10 a.m. on August 8th, 2022 from her house manager about the FBI raid. Mrs. Trump was in New York City for an appointment that day. The FBI is outside the house, she wrote. They are saying we need to leave. The Secret Service is checking the situation. I don't understand what's happening. That text appears to contradict FBI claims that the Secret Service was notified before agents arrived. Mrs. Trump at first worried about the threat to the property or staff, not realizing until she spoke with her husband moments later that their home was the target of an FBI raid. Rather than protecting us, the FBI's actions represented a politically motivated intrusion linked to my husband's personal presidential documents. Watching the helicopter footage of agents surrounding our home from New York, I felt a profound sense of personal violation. I was fully aware of the lengths to which my husband's political adversaries might go, but this development was an unprecedented low. She returned home days later to see what agents had done to her residence. She instructed staff to leave everything as is. She goes on to say, quote, I maintain my home with meticulous organization. So what greeted me when I walked in was both shocking and deeply upsetting. My belongings, her clothes, and I'll go a little farther because this isn't the words in her quote, her undergarments, documents, personal files, and medical records had been rummaged through, leaving me with a profound sense of violation. The anger I felt was compounded by the realization that strangers had invaded my personal space and sifted through my possessions. I could not be certain whether they had taken any of my belongings, end quote. Why did I read that? Because this is what we were up against, and we defeated that. This was lawfare and personal attacks trying to take this family down, and the atrocities that they committed against this family. We didn't need that anymore. And I am so thankful that we're back on the right track by getting Trump back in office and J.D. Vance. And we have to get rid of these people. God willing, we turn this thing around and get this republic back on the right rails and start moving forward and pick up steam again, because we cannot afford to have something like that. That was a first lady of the United States, a former first lady, talking like that. So if it can happen to them, it can happen to each and every one of you. Don't ever forget that. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that they could come after just little old us when they can go after way up on the totem pole, him and her. Something to think about. So, all right. If I was drinking with the meat puppet, I would I'd roofie the the bustard. I know what you mean, and throw him in the desert. And Joe said the liaison to the president said to Ryan, I'm a politician and a liar. When I'm not kissing babies, I'm working to somehow steal their lollipop. What movie was that, Lou? I do not remember, but I do remember that. You're going to have to tell me on that one, because I'm getting ready to end the show. Yeah, well, I really like Pence. Look where that got me. Yeah, and that's exactly, that's right, The Hunt for the Red October with, can't think of the actor's name now. Denzel Washington, and who was the other one that was in there? Especially us independent conservative commentators, they very much may try to come after us and or shut us down. AOC asking about which streamers to watch is very suspicious. Yeah. And I'll say this while Joe's trying to tell me who that actor was. But anyway, it was he was from over there in Ireland or somewhere. You guys know who I'm talking about. He was the Russian. He played the Russian in The Hunt for the Red October that defected or wanted to give up the sub. But anyway, brought up a good point there, Chris. Thank you so much. Keep this in mind, everybody, that I've been putting a lot of posts up about this as well, because it's very true. We are the new news, excuse me. And people are going to X more so than anywhere else. But you have Rumble and you also have Truth Social. Sean Connery, thank you. Outside of that, there's nothing else. You can't go to YouTube. You can't go to any other platform besides those three platforms. So you're going to have to pick your hill, which one you're going to die on. I know we can't support all of the content creators out there that we like, but I try to pick certain ones and I kind of alternate which ones I listen to, depending on what the title is, what I think it's going to be about, who the guests are, whatever. But keep that in mind that we must support, these content creators like ourselves and others who do the same thing that we do. And also keep in mind that the right-wing podcasters have really taken over mainstream media. We are the new mainstream media. And that's very important. And that's one of the reasons why we were able to do what we did with the Dan Bonginos and the Steven Crowders and the Glenn Becks of the world. They made a huge difference in people. Even the left admitted this. People were listening to like-minded people like our show and everybody else. And it does make a difference. So again, if you haven't and you're listening on X or YouTube, please go to Rumble, download that app. It is completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. And then go look us up at the Lose Views podcast. That also doesn't cost you anything. Follow us, hit the notification button, hit that like button, leave comments. Again, if you want to donate, you can donate to our Venmo. We'll always take whatever to help, keep the show going, and all the things that are, included in that. If you can't, don't worry about it. We're still going to do the show. Okay. But at least support us through following and getting that notification when we go live. And I would highly suggest that you go after some of the other people that we follow and listen to, and watch on X, watch on Rumble, and watch on True Social. You're going to get a lot of good news there, a lot of good information, and it's very important. And don't think it's not, because if we wouldn't have won this election, there's a very good possibility that we would have lost all these rights to be able to talk to you and do what we do. So again, keep that in mind, and support us whenever you can. And I know Terry's all over. She does spaces. She does all kinds of stuff. I consider her a very good friend from the Sunshine State. She's helped me with a lot of stuff. She comes on our show, and she's out to change the world. She really is. So if you don't follow her, please do so. And then and push her information and help support her. What's that, Gina?
I said Terry should be every woman's goal.
Ah, there you go. Look at that. Kudos, man. She is just putting her up on a pedestal. Woohoo! All right, everybody. Well,
man, that's a long fall. That's a long fall.
We're all those. I always make fun of us. I'm like, we're the small potatoes, so we don't have very far to fall. So when it comes to the Bonginos and the big shows, I mean, good Lord, if they fall, they've got a long fall. But us, it's totally different world. But you know what? We're part of that movement, no matter how small we are, and we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep getting better, and we're not going to stop this train. We're just going to keep going forward until we can't do it anymore, or I don't want to do it anymore. So there you go. All right.
Lou,
go ahead.
Lou, do you mind if I give a shout to the show for tomorrow night?
Oh, no, not at all. Go ahead.
Okay. So everybody out there on Tuesdays and Thursdays right now on Freedom Uncut, my partner in crime and the leader, Free, which some of you know him and some of you don't, are currently doing a series on Tuesday nights. It's Medical Murder, which is a lot of stories in a series about how the government interfered with COVID and cost the lives of many people. The person being interviewed on that is actually my daughter-in-law, which is Leslie Batts. That's included in it, the war on ivermectin. And also on, thank you, Gina, also on Thursday nights, which is tomorrow night, which I've learned so much in this, Lou, I swear. Decentralization and going back to all your local governments and everything. And it's the guest on there is Mike Decentralized, and He can cover everything from a community garden all the way how to put groups together to help work to make changes in your local communities, towns, and cities. It is absolutely awesome. And I learn stuff on that every single week. I learn new things. So if you can join us tomorrow night, you'll see my post going out about it tomorrow. And we would love to have you. There's a lot to learn for all of us.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. Anytime you want to plug something like that, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, good Lord, who am I? It doesn't bother me. I'm supporting anyone who's like-minded. So that's what we're here for. Absolutely. And yeah, I'll definitely join you. And as soon as I see that go out, I'll help promote it as well as I always do with the stuff that you put out.
Yes,
So
you do. And I thank you. I thank you very
you're welcome.
much.
All right. So everyone out there, thank you for being in the chat. I think Chris is still out there. And Chris, you can give me a yes or a no or a thumbs up in the chat. If you plan on joining us Friday night, let me know, and we'll make sure that we start advertising that show as soon as I start pushing it. But yeah, if you plan on being there, we'd love to have you. I think he said, yeah, buddy. So I guess that was in response to me already. That's not much of a delay. That was almost before I even finished saying it. But all right, cool. We'll have Chris Friday night, and yeah, we're going to start working on having some other guests on here. I'm going to send out something for Dr. Syed Hyder, who was from My Go-To Doc. It was also part of. Okay, yeah, I was talking about this Friday. If you want to do next week, we'll do that. That's fine. But anyway, I'm going to work on having him come in from. He was one of the people that was with the FLCCC, which was the COVID doctors and the protocols and everything that were really good. And we got a couple other people we have in mind we're going to try to have on the show as well. So anyway, I'll keep everybody informed. We'll probably go into a little bit different format, having people on every once in a while. Maybe we can spark some interest that way as well. So, all right, everyone. Yeah, Chris, if you can't do it this Friday, you can get to me directly. You know how. Just let me know. If you can't do it this Friday, we'll do it the following Friday or whenever you can. So, Sean, everybody up in Canada, all you people out there, thank you so much. All of you out there in Rebel Nation, we really appreciate it. Thank you for being there, and thank you for supporting us. We really, really appreciate it. Sherry said, I haven't confirmed this, but I'm seeing that Kash Patel has been named FBI director. Well,
give me one second.
Okay.
1 second, Luke. I'm pretty quick.
No, you're okay. Chris said a great show, and he enjoyed you, Terry.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's got a show over there, my Morning Mayhem over on Rumble. So if you haven't checked him out, please do so. And actually, I was going to ask you tonight, Chris, if you did a show today that you're putting up Friday. I feel like I'm kind of special. Like you could just send it to me so I could watch it in advance and give you some thumbs up ahead of time. But I need some extra material and content to listen to. You make me wait till Friday. Need some live content. Go ahead.
That's not confirmed yet. That is right now just probably going over the news channels and things like that. As somebody that's been named, that would absolutely make my night, and I wish you would post about it. But Donald Trump has not confirmed that to be a fact. So
yes,
we'll just continue to pray on that one.
Yeah. And that's a good point. I told somebody on X earlier in a post or a tweet, whatever you want to call it, if you want to know when it's real, go to Truth Social, and if Donald Trump posts, he'll put it out there. It's going to look like the ones. It'll say, it'll be an official thing. You'll know exactly what's going on. So, but anyway, yeah. Check out that, and I'm pretty sure that it'll probably come to pass, but we'll see. Time will tell. No big hurry. And all right, everybody, you guys take care. And again, I appreciate everything. Go get some rest. We'll see you all hopefully Friday night, and we'll see what we have in store for you then. So, all right, take care. Everyone, make sure you stay in the studio after we go off. live, and we'll talk for a few minutes. So good night, everyone. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless this great republic we call the United States of America, and our president and vice president, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Take care.
You've been listening to Lou's Views, where woke ideology gets destroyed. If you too are tired of the woke mob telling you how to think and live, then visit our website at lousviewspodcast.com. Start following Lou on X at Lou's Show, and watch the Lou's Views podcast on Rumble. Thanks for listening to Lou's Views.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.